Hey everybody, Reaganite71 here. We're about 15 minutes south of Fort Smith, Arkansas on a field trip. Today we're going to see someone else's garden. It's the guy that taught me everything I know about gardening, which is not very much, but he knows a lot more than I do. It's my dad, Reaganite Sr.
Hello there.
All right, let's go take a look at his garden. So the first thing I noticed when I got here was that he's got some really neat boxes. Come in a little closer here and take a look at this. He's actually got them supported on the rail, but they're built up. Tell me about these boxes.
Well, my wife had asked me for a planter box, who, by the way, is manning the camera for us. And I had enough lumber just laying around. I've not only built one box, I built 4 for her flowers, which helps attract beneficial insects, hummingbirds, and other critters.
These are daylilies here, as opposed to regular lilies. Apparently these will only open for one day, but they're supposed to be beautiful when they do.
That's just like turning on a mixer. You know, like you mix up a salad, only this is mixing up black gold.
Kind of grinds it up a little bit too, doesn't it?
Pulverized it, yeah. That's some of last night's supper. And matter of fact,
now the plants are going to have supper.
Now the plants are going to get fed, yeah. But look at that. It don't get any better than that right there. And it's all organic.
Do you have to use any you don't use any fertilizers or anything like that, do you?
The only thing I use is a can of beer, can of Coke, 8 ounces of ammonia. It's like thunderstorm in a bottle.
That sounds familiar.
But it makes gardening so much fun when you garden organically, because you know what's going into the plants that's going into your body. Peppers, squash, okra, onions, radishes.
We use a Y at the end of okra in Arkansas. Or okra.
Well, we're so close to Oklahoma, we have to do that, you know.
That way they understand it.
They understand, yes.
Viewers in Oklahoma, I'm just kidding. We're just having a little fun here. All right, well, let's take a look at your garden. That is one heck of a compost pile. What in the world, where do you get all of that to compost?
That's my yard waste. That's leaves, ground up sticks, grass clippings, a lot of grass clippings. I have a bagger system just like you do, and I collect my grass clippings.
So you don't let it blow out all over the lawn, you pick it up?
Oh, no, that's just like wasting money when you do that.
It is, isn't it? Because people pay good money for compost in the store. And how long does it typically, if you had grass clippings and some kitchen waste, how quickly can you turn that around?
7 days.
About 7 days?
7 days, provided I maintain the temperature, and that comes from covering your compost, your grass clippings with compost, seal in that heat, because that heat is very important.
That's the key, isn't it?
That's
you got to get it to cooking,
because it breaks down the grass clippings and it burns up the seed.
That's all right.
My dog. But it burns up the grass seeds where they won't resprout in your garden. As a matter of fact, if you look in my beds, I haven't done anything except add this compost to them. No grass, just vegetables.
You're doing better than me, because I do have grass coming up in mine. I must not have got it hot enough.
Well.
Oh, and also I broke up the soil underneath it. This is my first year with raised bed.
Yeah.
I broke up the sod underneath it. A couple of the beds, I just tilled it and left the roots in there, and that was a big mistake I found.
Well, you know, the main thing is that you're gardening.
Yeah.
You're getting out in God's creation, and you learn from your mistakes. Now, when you do it again, or anyone, when you do it again, you know what it takes to keep the grass from coming up, what it takes to make a compost garden really productive.
Yeah, if I had it to do over again, I think instead of doing like a 5-inch raised bed, I'd probably do like a 12-inch,
That's
18.
That will give them better root support. They can get more nourishment from the roots if you plant them the correct way, and that's just leaving the tops up when you plant your hoe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, using your fresh compost really helps, and keeping the bottom limbs trimmed up so they don't touch the soil.
Yeah, because that promotes diseases and rot and things like that you don't want.
And if you notice, I do stem tomatoes,
mm-hmm.
and I've got an abundance of green tomatoes.
How many? Yeah, I was going to ask you about your tomatoes. How many do you have now?
I've got about 78. I'm lying,
Yeah.
because he's got more than I do. But we got to have fun. You know,
I counted mine a couple of days ago. You know how many I have?
I won't believe you no matter what you tell me.
63 on 8 plants.
63 on 8. That's
8 out of
amazing.
12. And
I've got 12.
Here's the thing. 46 of those are on the 2 Better Boys.
Isn't that something?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not bad for a hybrid.
That is successful. That's been successful. And folks, I'm telling you, if you'll listen to him and his production, you'll grow great organic vegetables. And you know what you're putting in your body because you know what you put into there.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I would say is for the raised beds, what I will do next time, because I may modify my garden for next year, is instead of tilling up the soil or tilling up the grass, you know, that layer of grass and roots that you get, what I might do is lay down cardboard on top of the bed, have an 18-inch bed.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is most plants don't get any more than about a foot wide on their root system and about a foot deep. Well, tomatoes might be a little bit different, but
actually, tomatoes, the peppers, the squash will vary to some degree, as much as maybe 6 inches in width as they're putting out the roots.
Uh-huh.
Now the okra, they make huge roots. When the season's over with and I go to compost and grind up my okra, I have to get down and physically yank them out of the ground.
Yeah.
But then I like to turn my garden and cover it with a covering. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be newspaper with more mulch on top of it, cardboard,
yeah,
plastic, so that any seeds during the fall that come off will not sprout and come up during the next spring. And then I'll leave it all winter long, and then when springtime comes, after everything starts budding out, then I'll remove it and prepare my beds at least 4 weeks in advance. And seems like I've been pretty successful doing that.
Yeah. Your setup here is really beautiful. Now, how tall are your beds here?
12 inches.
12 inches. Okay, so that's a 12-inch bed. I see you've got some lettuce going here.
Yeah, my wife is responsible for that.
Likes that lettuce, and boy, it looks healthy too. How long has it been in the ground?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's 2 weeks right there.
But here's the key. Compost tea.
Oh, somebody started doing compost tea.
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
And let's see, you've got pepper plants here.
And peppers, got some bells.
Got some bell peppers going. Are these all green bell peppers?
No, they're variety. Yellow, red, green.
Let's walk through the garden. I notice you got a real nice mulch bed down here. It's soft to walk on. Got the daylilies.
Weeds down.
Helps hold the weeds down. Look at this squash. Wow. We got to get in here and look at some of this.
Yeah, I'm collecting some of this white mold.
Like a mildew?
Like a mildew, yeah.
Is it on the back side of the leaf too?
No. But they're cupping up. They're wanting a drink of water when they start cupping like that.
Yeah. I've noticed in the heat of the day, mine just start wilting like crazy. Of course, it's been getting in the 90s.
As soon as they get it.
Yeah, in the evening they perk back up.
Yeah.
In the mornings they're very perky, but then the sun comes out and they start wilting again.
Water early in the morning and give them a good root soaking.
Uh-huh.
If you water late in the evening, you're more susceptible to disease. Plus, that's when a lot of the insects come in to feed at dusk.
Yeah.
So if you want to prevent your plants from having a disease or from insects feeding on them, use your tonic, the all-purpose tonic, in the evening. because that's when it'll disperse those bugs.
Now tell us about the all-purpose tonic for gardens, because that's something I haven't gone over yet.
All-purpose tonic considers of the 3 main ingredients that we've mentioned in the beginning: can of beer, can of cola, ammonia.
Pneumonia and,
I have a brain
dish
thing.
soap.
Yeah, I use Dawn dish soap because it really repels the insects, helps repel them.
Softens up the soil, keeps it from compacting.
Exactly. And on top of that, for insect control, I'll take a pinch of tobacco, like Red Man or some, not tobacco loose, but tobacco plugs, put them in the toe of a nylon stocking, and then put that into a gallon of water. Let it steep.
Tobacco tea.
Tobacco tea.
Yeah.
And I'll add 8 ounces of that to my mixture, and then overspray everything inside.
Do you still use mouthwash?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
forgot to add that. I use, from Walmart, I get the Equate brand.
You want the yellow stuff, right?
You want the cola looking, the brown.
Yeah.
It has the same ingredients as Listerine, and Lister is a natural insect repellent.
Ah, yeah.
So you add that mixture is my super tonic.
Now you're not just using that straight though, right? You're
No. Mix it into a jug of some sort of your choosing. Could be a tea jug or a gallon jug of any sorts. Mix it all together. Then pour that into a hose-end sprayer, preferably a 20-gallon hose-end sprayer. And I've got one right here. I'll show you. And then overspray everything in sight: your trees, your flowers, your plants, your vegetables. And believe me, it's really like a thunderstorm in a bottle.
Yeah, and an insecticide that's natural.
Yeah, you're still not using any chemicals, components of any sort.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed here you've got some yellow squash already. Have you already been picking?
Yeah, we picked about a dozen
Oh, that's great.
already, because I like fried squash. My wife is real good at making that.
Got some
Jalapeno,
jalapeno peppers there. Oh yeah.
cayennes here.
Whew. Hot stuff. Okra, onions.
Got okra already. It's real early for okra. Usually you don't plant okra till like the middle of May.
Yeah, we're in zone 7B here in Arkansas.
And okra is planted about the same time as cotton in our area. And but I jumped ahead about 3 weeks now. These have been planted, and I've already got okra pods coming up
You sure do.
out here. And you usually
How about that?
You usually don't get to harvest in our area okra until July and August because they love the heat. If you want to make this 20-gallon hose-end sprayer a 6 or 10-gallon hose-end sprayer, in the top you have a vent, and you take this size of drill bit, go up one size, and that'll make it into a 6 to 10-gallon sprayer. If you have a small garden, you can empty this thing in 2 minutes. Well, this being a 20-gallon and a 20-gallon hole, it takes several.
So what you're saying is that hole right there determines how many gallons of water it's going to put through.
Exactly.
Once it's exhausted.
If you're spraying and you don't want to spray fluid, cover the hole. Now you got plain water coming out.
So if you cover that hole, you create a vacuum.
That stops the suction.
Or it stops the suction, right?
Yeah.
And just straight water is going to come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah.
Show you
very
some
good.
radishes my wife planted over the weekend. Now today is Tuesday, and I'm talking about 4 days ago on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 4 days. I got to do that for the guys in Oklahoma.
And the Alabama fans. Just kidding, Alabama.
Or the corn dog.
We're in the SEC. Oh boy. I've got some corn dog friends. I mean LSU friends.
This is 4 days.
Look at that.
And we used compost tea. We soaked them. Now here's another key that I don't think that I have explained to regonite. When you have seeds, whether they're new or old, and I've got quite a few old seeds, I soak them for overnight in tea water My wife makes great strong tea. I love tea. And I'll pour it into a little container like this. Put my seeds in there and let them marinate overnight. The next day I'll take my seeds out, put them on a paper towel, pat them dry, then I'll plant them. Then I'll take my compost tea, soak them in real good. And this is the result of it right here. Now we've planted something that we've never grown before, and we'll show it to you here in a minute. It's called popcorn peanut. Popcorn peanuts, get it right here. It's called peanut pumpkins.
Peanut pumpkins.
Peanut pumpkins. And
Okay.
my wife did this. She got a container like this and filled it up with compost, soaked the seeds, and then fed them compost tea. And they're right down here in another bed. And you got to see this to believe it.
Okay. Let's go take a look.
These are peanut pumpkins.
Peanut pumpkins.
Now we'll have to come back in a couple of weeks and see how they're doing.
Yeah, we'll do a garden update out here. You like pecan pies in the garden? I mean, what's up with this here?
That's a deterrent for birds.
Bird deterrent.
Yeah. You can use these or old CDs.
Yeah.
CDs are very good because they'll spin.
Yeah.
Just hang them wherever you can. Of course, I use concrete wire for my cages.
Yeah, I noticed you got the mesh here. It comes in like, what, 5 foot wide?
5 foot.
And you added some on.
I had to add some on because they were growing out of my cages
Yeah.
so much. But now when they get up to this point, I top them.
So you don't let them grow anymore?
I keep them cut back. But this right here, as you notice, see this right here? Actually, it's a beefsteak.
Beefsteak tomato, yeah.
And what helps is these supporting the stalk. So as they get taller, I just work them in.
I noticed I really don't see it tied off to the main stake here. You got T-posts for stake. Or
some of
for
them
stakes.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah. No, I'll show you.
But come in here also and take a look at this. Because I noticed that you get all of your leaves cleared off here so that you don't have any laying on the ground. Keeps disease from building up and all that.
Yeah, that's my leaf. I mean my stick tomatoes. This year I had read an article about keeping everything picked off. Right below where your tomatoes are and right above any limbs that you don't need. Every time you break one away, it will put more nourishment to the fruit.
Yeah, the energy goes to the fruit and upper growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see you've got the Christmas balls here. I wonder where I got that idea from.
It actually works. Last year I had a squirrel take one of those home with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost a tomato that way.
The squirrel got food, you know.
Yeah.
He come back after a while griping, you know. He had glass all in his mouth.
Oh, brother.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I've had birds. Look at this one down there. I turned them around. Last year that was facing out.
If you want the birds to peck this instead of your tomatoes, get you some Christmas bulbs, some red Christmas bulbs, because this is proof right here that it works. Because if these hadn't been here, you know what they've been pecking on, the tomatoes.
And once they figure out that that's not something for them to eat, they leave it alone.
Yeah. Unless you get new ones in, and then they have to find out the hard way.
Yeah. So all during growing season, these bulbs, these Christmas bulbs, are up.
Yeah. So how many tomato plants do you have in all here?
In these two beds, I have 6 tomato plants in each bed. And then I've got 2 overflow in the back of the garden.
Looks like about 2 foot spacing.
They're about,
Okay.
because of the root ball on the tomatoes, you don't have to get them real far apart. You can keep them 18 inches apart and they will still thrive, especially if you're compost gardening.
Yeah, the compost. I mean, if you plant them in regular soil.
You know, you've always heard rotate your crops. every year. You know, don't
Yeah.
plant them in the same place.
Right.
That's not true with composting because you're always replenishing the compost. And when you do that, you're putting
Fresh nutrients into the
fresh
ground.
nutrients back in the ground. You're giving the soil that it needs to grow and be productive.
So if you're using compost instead of regular soil and some of that stuff you might get at Walmart, and you're adding fresh compost in, you're basically feeding your garden, and you're making the soil much better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the
Because-
pH level on this kind of soil is different than pH on a pool, let's say.
Yeah.
About a 6.0 pH is a good place to be with your soil here. And most local county agents, which we have one in Fort Smith, you take a soil sample in and they'll tell you what the pH of it is.
Yeah.
And if you need more acidity to it, you know what to add, or if you need to.
So for those that don't know, what is pH? What is that for the soil? Is it like alkalinity? You know, how alkaline is your soil? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically you just pull it up to the center or tie it off when it needs to be tied off, otherwise you're going to let it grow up the cage
Exactly.
the way it wants to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as it's got some good support arms like these and these, that'll support your fruit. Because if you don't, it's going to fall. It's
Yeah.
going to start breaking limbs.
And there are a lot of people that like to let them grow on the ground. I mean, as long as you're growing, you're growing. I've heard that the tomatoes themselves, you know, you get that little blossom on the end of the tomato, it'll actually put down new roots and you'll get more nutrients that way because you'll have a better root system. Some people like to do that. I like the cleanliness of this though, because now you don't have any leaves touching the ground.
There's no competition. Grass is a big competition for your nutrients.
Yeah.
If you got grass growing around your fruit, your stalks, then the tomato is competing with the grass.
And they can get choked out with really hardy grass. Yeah.
And you won't have near the tomatoes that you would like to have.
Yeah.
Plus, when you water, deep root water. Don't water from the top down. Water the roots.
Keep the water off the leaves. Right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, when it rains, you can't help it. I mean,
Right.
that's a given.
It's usually cloudy then, so you don't have to worry about the sun burning them then,
Yeah,
though, too. How many times a week do you water here in Arkansas? And it's going to be different depending on your location, the type of soil you have, all of that stuff.
Time of year.
And the time of year.
This time of year, this is the next to last week of May, and right now I'm watering once a week.
Just once a week?
Once a week.
Don't they dry out?
No.
No,
I'm not
watering?
sure why. I watered over the weekend. It's been 4 days. See how moist that soil is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if it were dry, it would just crumble. And
If you water too much, you're going to get blossom end rot on your tomatoes. And I'll show you something. Thank you. See that right there?
Yeah,
That's too much water.
when your blossoms are doing this.
Yeah, well, that, and see that right there?
Look at this on the squash here. So that's blossom end rot.
Not that. You had, I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not, but it's got like wet spots.
Uh-huh.
And it starts turning dark back up here.
Yeah.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's blossom end rot. Too much water.
Okay. Then we had some rain over the weekend, and
I didn't have any.
you didn't have any here?
No.
Okay. Okay.
10 minutes to your house, and I had no rain.
Just watering it too much.
Just water it.
Okay.
Thanks to the lady behind the camera. Not me.
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so we got a radish rate going on here. Boy, those are good looking right there. Look at that.
Yeah, we're fixing to have some wonderful salad tonight.
Look at that. Good looking radishes there.
Oh, they're very tasty too, because it's organic, and you know what made them grow. Look at this one.
Golf ball radishes. How about that?
Now, to go with these, we need some of the southern fried greens to go with it. These onions, my wife loves these onions. She'll cut the tubers off, wash them out, and put them in what she calls cut up. The root. Are those not healthy? And folks, if you could smell that, it's an onion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I gotta have a little bit of that right now. Oh yeah. Them's good onions right there.
And we'll clean them up, cut the ends off, put them in the compost pile, let them remake.
Just
good
an
stuff.
Ongoing cycle, isn't it?
Ongoing, yeah. Hey, if something happens, we can survive.
Yeah.
May not be steak and taters. Well, it might be taters.
So food does not just come from the store.
No, it does not. It comes from Reaganite Senior's garden. And Reaganite.
All right. Something else I noticed here, he has got grapes growing. Last year you had some grapes, or you had the plant.
Had the plant.
But you didn't have this arbor. I noticed you built an arbor. It looks like you used just metal, welded it up, painted it, and then put the, is this hog panel here?
It's actually a cattle panel.
Cattle panel?
They come in 16 foot by 4 foot length.
Okay. So you got the cattle panel, basically a real nice arbor here, and they are just growing like crazy here.
Yeah.
Come around on this side. I want to show you these grapes. You can't really see it. Well, here's a little bit right here in the sun. Look at that. Just beautiful. Now, Altus, Arkansas is known for its wine. So it's not like you can't grow grapes in Arkansas. Is there anything special you're doing to get these to grow?
Compost tea.
Just compost tea. No, nothing special in the soil or anything like that?
Overspray them with my tonic.
But where's the root system? Root system down here?
Yeah.
Come
You
in
have
here.
to see it on the other side.
Okay. Look at that. Woo, doggy. Fella could make him some wine if he wasn't careful now. Not that I'm endorsing that, but it's a good idea.
They're a lot more better to eat.
Yeah. I see your roots start down, the base of the plant starts here and it just works its way up. And it is just gorgeous. Well, I hope you enjoyed the visit to Reaganite Senior's garden, a regular backyard urban farm, growing right south of Fort Smith. It's so easy to do. You can do it too. It doesn't have to be this elaborate. Just get something and start growing it. It could be seeds, it could be anything. And if you're mowing grass, there's no reason why you can't have super rich soil too. Check out our drunken composting video that I posted a few videos back, and you'll see how to do it and get results in as little as 7 to 10 days. This is Reaganite 71. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you around the bend. Hey everybody, Reaganite 71 here. Today we're taking a field trip. We're going out about 15 minutes south of Arkansas to see another
Of Arkansas. What's wrong with you?
And go. Oh, you're already recording? Wait for me. You're burning tape. Well, I hope you and pause it. May your garden stop it. What is this? Take 14. This is Reaganite 71. Hoping you have a growing garden and a happy harvest. We'll see you next time.